key is ambition. I've got ambition for, not personal ambition, I've got ambition for where I live. And it isn't a political point, it's a reality. The Liz Truss budget blew everything, our budgets apart. I could pave the streets in gold, and you would argue about the carat. I could do 9 carat gold pavements, and there would be at least half of the world saying, oh, there should be 24. Left wing, right wing, all that sort of stuff. They're too polarised, so you can't bring them together. You make a decision that's through the middle, and it chooses either side off. Our contracts are geared around local spend, because we want to keep the money locally. Yeah. And that's my sort of gripe with the nuclear industry. I don't think they spend enough.
Today on the episode of Chatterjack Podcast, we are joined by Mark Fryer. Mark is the leader of Cumberland Council, so stay tuned to hear why he was cutting a pig's head open on the back door step, what it's like to be pranked by John Prescott, and paving the streets in 9 carat gold. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a share. It helps us grow the podcast more than you know, and it also helps us book bigger and bigger guests each time round. So let's get into it. So Mark, how have we got here?
It's a long story, really. When I first went on the council, I stood as what they call a paper candidate.
Okay.
And I couldn't win, because I was working, so I was on the career path, as it were. I'd always been a member of the Labour Party since I was 16. Okay. That injustice, that sort of apartheid, and all that daft sort of student politics, isn't it? Couldn't buy any fruit from Spain or Peru or Israel. All that daft sort of, not daft stuff, but that's just my humour. But I thought, no, that's all right. I won by 11 votes. Oh. And I think it was 11 or 12. I thought, oh, God. Anyhow. And it changed my life. Within 18 months, I was the sort of, I think, deputy leader of the council in 18 months, because it bothered us that much that it wasn't business-like, and it wasn't, being thought through. And I felt the officers were running the organisation. I remember sitting in my first council meeting and voting against the budget as a young man, really, and anyhow, that's how it started. And then, as you do, up and down, you get beat a time or two, and then the last time I wasn't going to stand, sort of made a promise to Sue and went downtown. It was on a Saturday afternoon. Went out in the afternoon for a few pints. Me and Sue sitting. I'm on the draft Guinness, Sue's on a cocktail. And she said to us, so when you're putting your forms in? And I looked at her and went, what? She said, seen your face. And she says, I knew. And I thought, right, okay. And so I did, and won, and ended up the leader of the council. So
that interesting sort of politics was there from quite a young age. Was that spiked from sort of school? Was it?
I'll tell you, it was. I mean, I was brought up in a political family. Okay. And I've worked in loads of elections, and under 18. One of the first ones I worked in was Dale Campbell Services election in 1976. Yeah. He got beat, and he's been my friend ever since. Got you. Confident. There are 3 people in my life who I tell a secret to. I'm dead good at keeping secrets. I'm brilliant at it. If you told us something, you told us not to tell anybody. I won't. It's a great skill. Oh, is that a bit of a top tip? Is that what Sue will give us a hard time on that, but so from then on, Dale become a bit of a mentor, really. I've been a friend all my life.
So then, skipping back to school, I'm going to take you right down that path, Mark, if we can, and just thinking about your sort of studies. What kind of subjects did you like? What would your school report have said?
The old boy had a bit of a fixation on apprenticeships.
All right, okay.
So, because that's where he come from. Him and his 2 brothers. My dad's from Bristol, so they all went through engineering apprenticeships in the yards and electrical, 2 engineers, mechanical engineers. and that was the goal of our lives, and not to go to uni or anything of that ilk. He changed schools. Instead of me going to St Joseph's, I went to Salterbeck, and he kicked off. It was a bit crap, really. Can you swear, I know?
Yes.
It was a bit shit, really. And it was like, because I was with all my matters and all that sort of thing, and I ended up proper sort of revolting against it all and
Got you.
kicking off, and and that decision. Do you know something? When he was at the latter end of his life, he apologised to us.
Really?
Yeah, and it was quite emotional for us both. He was like, he said, "Look, I made some mistakes with your son here. I went to, I'd done some university work later than that, and I've got a lad who's 18 now. He's just done his A levels. Everybody's sort of sitting, because I'm fairly strong. I'm forthright, and everybody's waiting for us to rifle him, and I won't.
Oh yeah.
And people, when they ask us, get stuck into him as rifle him about, he's playing games and playing on the gaming machine, and he doesn't know what to do, and I'm not giving him a hard time over it, and folk can't work out why I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
The report, I was quite intelligent. I don't mean to, in that arrogant sense, but I am obviously, but I would say English lit, all that sort of stuff. I really liked all that.
Got you.
I'm good at maths. My head's, all the budgets on the council and that are just instant around. It's just mental arithmetic, and so I can pick it up right away. And
so quite literary subjects that you kind of studied and enjoyed them, despite some of the challenges.
I like cookery. I I loved it. I didn't do joinery or metalwork. I wanted to do domestic science, and it was like, what? And still to this day, that's my only relaxation. Cooking.
So we're going to say you're a master chef, Mark?
No, but I'm a sucker for a curry recipe book.
Oh, love.
I can remember I went and got a pig's head. I was going to do some brawn. I went and got a pig's head, and I was cutting it in half on the back step. And my brother-in-law rang us up, and I was answering the phone. I said to me, "Son, here, talk to your Uncle Craig." And he said, "What's your dad doing?" He says, "Oh, he's cutting a pig's head in half." So I'm making the brawn and stuff like that. And, and then next minute, all the brothers are down getting some. And
I love it. I didn't know that about it. Fascinating. There you go. That's what you do to relax. So you sort of finished off your studies at school, and then the apprenticeship kind of.
I got myself a job as a joiner. It's the best thing I ever done. I still go out with my mates from 40 years ago. Yeah. And they're a bit older than us, and it's funny, like, because I was in charge of them and that, but and they're great people, and I've stuck. That's. I suppose that loyalty is right through my life. That's what I'm into more than anything else. And
so you came into that leadership role sort of quite early in your career path. What do you think the skills are to be a good leader for our younger audience listening?
The biggest skill, and I didn't think I had it, was listening. I was plenty to say, but listening and thinking and empathetic, being a bit more, recognising the position people are in and that.
Because sometimes it's not what people say, it's how they say it sometimes.
Particularly now. And what you do is, there's some stuff now, isn't there, with nationally around. It doesn't matter what, so I'm the leader of the council, it doesn't matter what I do. I piss half the world off anyways, because, left wing, right wing, all that sort of stuff, they're too polarised, so you can't bring them together. You make a decision that's through the middle, and it chooses either side off, but hopefully keeps the majority happy. So it's like, I would say being consistent. Yeah. People come for us for a decision, I'll make it. Yeah. Not frightened of making tough decisions. Sometimes politics gets in the road. Yeah. Politics is it's a broad term, isn't it? But
So how do you balance sort of that polarising views and opinions in the position that you're in? How do you do that?
you can only spend a pound coin once, can't you? And if I haven't got any money, I can't spend it. So it's just like Reeves at the minute. She can't spend any money because she hasn't got any. Well, we're the same.
Yeah.
So people want more and more and more, when the reality is we're getting less and less and less. So and nobody wants that, and our job is to balance that through the middle.
It's a hard one to balance, isn't it? When you've got it's gone through a massive change, and then we've just been reading at the moment about devolution, and what that means for the area as well. So. What is it for our younger listeners that maybe don't know? What does it mean?
Originally, I was the chair of the North West Regional Assembly as well, which was the forerunner of sort of today's devolution, which was brought along by John Prescott. Because of that, I got quite close to John, and some of the stuff, how politics works. I remember him. I went into his hotel bedroom at Bassingthurst, and my pet hate's been late. I despise it. It's awful.
You're so lucky I was on time this morning.
Oh, it's me pet. And I think Sue and I are diametrically opposed. I can remember him saying to us, listen, I want you to walk in 5 minutes late. And I said to him, I won't be able to do that, John. And he said, no, I want you to come in. It was a breakfast meeting. I said, I won't be able to do it, John. He goes, no, I want you to come in 5 minutes late. So I was like, pacing up and down. I was like my stomach's turning, because I really hate it. I'm a bit better now, like a lot calmer. But anyways, I walked in the room and everybody had sat down, and he went, "Oh, Mark," like pointed at us. "Great to see you. I've saved you this seat here next to me." And what he was doing was telling everybody in the room I was his man in West Cumbria, and we ended up getting some significant funding out of him. And that's the pure politic of it. But what he wanted at the time was an elected assembly of, I suppose akin to Scotland and Wales of the North West, which I think was sort of 9.5, 10 million at the time. So I was the sort of chair of that, the forerunner of it. And then, as politics goes, it was stopped. And now, obviously, they're talking about the mayors and the mayoralty of and bringing that in. And I say it like this: look, I have an ambition for my area where I live. I love where I live. If I'd been ambitious, as in not personally ambitious, but ambitious for politics, probably could have went somewhere else and stood as the MP as it was. The circumstances locally, but the area that I love where I live. It's the greatest place in the world. As the leader of the council, I can do many, many things, but I can't get £400 million to do the West Coast lineup, or I can't get £10 million to put a roundabout in at Brigham Broughton. I can't get £40 million to do, road improvements in and around Carlisle. It's all that sort of stuff. But I think there's an opportunity that the mayor can.
Okay.
Whoever she or he might be, because of the way that's going to work, where they're going into the city and the regions, that go and sit with the other mayors. And if you think about it now, I mean, I was in Manchester at the weekend watching the grand final. I jumped on the tram, went from the centre of Manchester to Old Trafford. It was 10 pence. And we're fighting like mad to, when does this go out next week?
Yeah.
When?
Wednesday.
All right. There might be something next week about transport, but we're fighting like mad to get our people connected up. We live in a really rural area, which there's sort of knocking on 300,000 of us, and then in the middle of summer there's like
millions. Yeah.
So we get 300,000. And we get to take whatever the council tax is, and then these other people come and use it, and we have to repair it, all the road infrastructure and that. So it's frustrating, but I think if that devolution of power, whether it be around skills, and if you look at skills, particularly with here in West Cumbria, it's our it's ours. We've got a really, really loyal workforce.
Yeah.
We've got people who are committed to the area. The skill base is variable. We've got some communities that are really, really tough.
Yeah.
Now, I'm from one of them. I'm off North Side, and it's still tough to this day about how we get our children, our kids, and giving them ambition. The key is ambition. I've got ambition for, not personal ambition, I've got ambition for where I live. I think it's great. I love it. I genuinely do. And sometimes people can't see it. If you go, I was in Manchester. Yeah. Manchester isn't a patch on us for cleanliness, or, it's just nowhere near our standards. So, and we'll get criticised for, the place is dirty. The reality is, under the circumstances that we have, it's pretty good.
It's different as well, isn't it? If you think about the geography of Cumbria and the geography of where Manchester is, you've got in the same landmass, you'd have Liverpool, Manchester.
Oh, yeah,
so, it is different.
Oh, yeah. It's not only that, you've got business, rate, you've got jobs, you've got economy, you've got money, you've got drive. All right. You've got the other issues. So, there's still a bit of homelessness. You can still see... you can still see drugs and that on the streets. You can see people who are affected with mental health. Those numbers are a lot higher than what we have. But in comparison, the percentage-wise to our community will still be there.
Yeah.
So we have to deal with that. But, that skills. How do we then get our kids into school, achieving at the very first levels, which is the issue? I remember working on a project in Workington, and working with one of the schools. It'd be wrong to say which one it was. And at that point, they had, I think it was Key Stage 1. So they're walking into the school, and this business. And if you talk to a teacher, they know if the kids are being read to at night.
Yeah.
And if the parents are working with them, you get out what you put in. And I've got 5 children, and all of them have done really, really well.
And do you think it's harder in 2025 for parents with, they've probably both got full-time jobs or that sort of thing? Is it a time thing? Like as times change, then, maybe children are being looked after by grandparents more. Is that a contributing factor, do you think?
Look, our mum, we wouldn't have been able to do what we done without our parents. None of us, none of the 4 lads. And, our mum was awesome. Like, like everybody's mum, they're number one, aren't they? Everybody thinks our old boy was in charge. Fraser was in charge, and in charge of discipline as well, like that. But yeah, okay, you've got that added pressure, because 2 is, you can survive if one person works in the family, but you live with 2, so you have nice holidays, you buy a car, all that sort of stuff. But it's the people who can't. That's where my target's always been, because I've always done all right. So how do we get those people into work? So how do we get them kids off North Side, them kids in Myres, the kids in Saneth? We've got a number of estates that are not achieving like we should, and our challenge is to get them to a level where they can get the opportunity to get a good job. Give them that ambition. And
does
I
that
think
come from positive role models in the area?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, we've been in there, and it's really good. I worked there in probably maybe 15 years ago now, maybe longer, and the kids who were like 5 and 6 come up to us now, talk to us in the street. It's absolutely brilliant, because you were giving them some direction, and you were helping them and helping the families, and we established a credit union in there so people could access funding and, doing different things. I just think that intervention is at that bottom end, because at the time the kids, when they were coming in, going back to where they started, they weren't getting to Key Stage 1 or 2. So that if they talk about narrowing the gap, don't they? You can't narrow that gap. It's too wide.
Yeah.
So they're walking in at the first day in school, and you know that the outcome at the other end automatically, because you cannot narrow that gap. It's too wide unless they're absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got. We've got some people who are, and they, you know, they've got that ambition and they want to break free and they want to do things, and they do. You know, it's brilliant to see people who get on, and you know, sort of the West Cumbrian mentality is, you know, get back down in the trench with me. But I love it when you see local people getting on, setting up their own business, being successful. I think it's brilliant. I do.
So we talked before, just off air, when we were outside making a cup of tea, we touched on young people and children's services in Cumbria.
When we took over, we had 500 and I think it was 229. It's either 529 or 532 in care. And we got down to 452. It's gone up, blipped up, but starting to come back down again. And those numbers, I was thinking 530 kids in care. We reviewed every one of them. They hadn't been reviewed in such a long time. We started to talk to the parents. The parents, some of the kids maybe have been there for 5-6 years. Well, the parents are different people. Are we working with the parents? So it's a passion of mine, really, because, you know, when we were growing up, our old girl used to say, "Who's that lad that you're with?" "Oh, such and such, such and such. Oh, we're going down the river tomorrow. Tell him to come with you." And I, you know, later when you're talking with me mum, I said, "You know, we used to go down the river. What was that for, mum? We were looking after them." And she goes, "Yeah, my mum had a working men's club. She had the Labour Club. And she knew whose parents were out drinking and that. I knew which kids were getting left alone and stuff. And then two biggest me and our boys would run up to chip shop, get maybe 4 bags of chips, come back down and maybe 5 or 6 loaves of bread and butter, and you know, so we were getting fed.
Yeah,
and them kids were
to eat.
Right, and that, to this day, it's that sort of stuff that forms you and molds you, isn't it? I remember she was looking after them. Like, it sounds a bit cheesy, like, but you know, I'm a feminist because I was brought up with strong women. Absolutely. Absolutely super duper strong. I took no rubbish.
That's probably why you get on with Emma.
Yeah, I laugh with her. I've spoken to her this morning. I rang her this morning. She's in London. She's a bloody dynamo, isn't she?
Yeah, she doesn't stop.
No, dynamo. So, you know, white having her well looked after when she's here. Absolutely.
So then I guess moving forward a little bit then, there's been a lot of investment into some of our towns in West Cumbria specifically. And has that been sort of to reignite passions in young people? Are we centering some of that regeneration around the younger generations, would you say?
Well, we picked some of them up.
Yeah.
We picked some of them up. Most of them were sort of, it isn't a political point, most of them were flawed because the money that came down with them changed with a budget.
Yeah.
And it isn't a political point, it's a reality. The Liz Truss budget blew everything, our budgets apart. So we were suddenly, because it went up to 11%, inflation went up. So everything went up by about 10 to 15%. Mm-hmm. And then the following year, it went up at sort of 9 to 12% on the top of the other 15. So all the budget lines. I mean, if we'd have been if it had been carrying on at sort of 2 to 4, we'd have been all right.
Yeah.
But it absolutely blew everything apart. So we had to chop some of them back, look for more money. It was really, really tough. And I suppose the one. So they were all, and that's what you find with these projects. They're all what you term old people want, wouldn't you? You know, so the kids and young people rarely get a sniff in. And if anything, the one that's probably an example is the one at Maryport that we've done, where I know you know lingo, so you'll be the fishery interpreter through there.
I can be.
So if you look at Maryport, we've done some stuff there, although a lot of it's for what you'd say adult stuff, but the play area and all that sort of stuff's changed the way that
massively.
It's absolutely gone bonkers. And I think that, and what you find is people, we want a children to play area in our area. And I think that we should go down to say, right, okay, we've got a super duper one there. And that's where we go to and stuff. So the Mary Port stuff's been really good. And sort of bypassing the politics, going to the community groups, going to the business group, and the old sort of politic of trying to stop things. It does me head in, that rubbish. So I just bypassed it. I just went round it and went to the people who wanted to do things. And what's happened is that we've dragged everybody. It's not kicking and screaming, but with the realisation that you've got to do it, and because this is why we're doing it.
And it's led by people invested in the town.
And if you look at Mary Port, and people are starting to look at it now. I know there's a group in Whitehaven starting to look at how they've done it. There's shops are going there.
I know. I think when the business group started out, there was about 30, 50 shops empty. I think there's about 14 now.
Yeah, I think there's less. I think we're in single figures.
Yeah.
And that's solely down to that group. They've absolutely stuck back because they love the town, don't they?
Absolutely.
That's it's like me. I love where I live at, and they love where they live at, and they'll fight tooth and nail for it. I mean, the best thing about Mary Port's the people in here.
Yeah.
They'll fight tooth and nail for it. They can slag it off, but we can't.
It's a proper West Cumbrian mentality.
If anybody slags it off, they're right into you. So it's dead good, and it's got its community, it's got its rugby league, it's got all that sort of strength of community, which is really, really good.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, a bit different than normal. So some of these are from our listeners, from our community. So the first one was, people have always got a gripe with the council.
Yeah.
Always got a gripe with the council.
Yeah.
So what's a misconception that they might have that's just not true?
That we don't care.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because we do. I was on. I was being interviewed by somebody off a local radio station, and he kept being negative on us. So I kept being negative about his radio station back to him. And he kept saying, "Oh, you can't say that." I said, "Well, I can, because you're just being negative, so I might as well be negative on you." And in the end, I said to him the famous, he showed it a long time ago in Workington, and that is, I could pave the streets in gold, and you would argue about the carrot. And that's the reality. It doesn't. I could do 9 carat gold pavements, and there would be at least half of the world saying, "Oh, there should be 24.
Yeah.
There should be 19." And that's the difficulty in it. So the gripe around the council is because people want help. People are desperate. People need things. They want things and they can't get them. And we can't provide them because we haven't got that funding, or, it isn't our responsibility or whatever. But people look to us, I think, sometimes in desperation for some stuff. And I think that's the tough.
Do we need to have a bit more of an education around what the council doesn't, what's their remit?
Yeah,
Is that maybe where there's the gap?
Well, this local government reorganisation was so, you only need to go to one place now, don't you? So instead of going to Cumberland, Allerdale, Carlisle, you go to Cumberland. And boy, have we got it. And we get it all the time.
And they're vastly different in how they operated previously. To bring that all together was,
culturally difficult. 4 different organisations, because we had the county council. Got to remember as well, we've got 4,500 staff, of which, we were talking about skills before. I mean, if there's any young people out there's some fantastic careers with the council. Unbelievable careers, because it's so wide and varied. I think we took on 23 apprentices in highways alone this year.
Yeah.
And I think 8 of them had care experience, which was something I was really keen on. That, well, why, if that's the case, and why don't we look after our own kids? And that means that trajectory. Look, a child in care, you can go many different avenues, but there is a child in care. The trajectory in many cases is not good, and it'll go down. And we've give, I think it's 8 or 10, the opportunity to fly. We really have. And they'll get the package, they'll get looked after.
Yeah.
They'll, the good thing about it is the 23 that we took on, everyone turned up on day 2. That's
Tick.
a real positive.
Tick.
And we want to invest in them. And I think, you know, it isn't just about Sellafield. It isn't just about wherever people want to go. There's some fantastic opportunities with other organisations. You know, I was going round in Ovia the other week.
Let's go.
In Wigton, and it was amazing. Amazing. You go to Ingersund.
And it's fascinating that all this happens, this national stuff, international
yeah.
stuff.
Look at Armstrong's. Armstrong's is the biggest independent construction company in the north, I think.
Mm. Yeah.
Brilliant. And what we've done is we've changed the way that we operate, because our contracts are geared around local spend, because we want to keep the money locally.
Yeah.
And that's my sort of gripe with the nuclear industry. I don't think they spend enough. You know, there's 2.8 billion going into there, supply chain. If you think about that, if I increased the supply chain by 1%, that would be £28 million.
Yeah.
1%. So I'm not after 50%. 5% would do. 10% would do.
Yeah.
So it's 10% is 280 million spent locally.
Mm.
You know, and that's my, you know, okay, we work with them on long-term plans. The day-to-day is the key. Spend your money locally, and all your others. We do, and that's what we're trying to do, as others do, because that's how the economy goes, isn't it? That's how the economy grows.
Yeah, the contracts things. Yeah, it's always a bit controversial, isn't it? There's always a lot of opinions and stuff like that around, you know, how contracts are done and all that sort of
It's
stuff.
not necessarily contract. Not necessarily. It's how you spend your money, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm not, you know, stupid to realise that you can't all be spent here. But if there was a targeted approach around increasing it by 2, 3, 4, 5%, you know, I would think 10%, 280, we'll have 140, we'll only have 5% increase. If you think about that in the local economy and how that would be spent.
How would you spend it?
Well, it would be spent by organisations in saying something like this, you know, local organisations who were providing services. That supply chain is the real key to us, the real key to our economy locally. And it's the same in Carlisle as well. You know, you can think about that. Carlisle's got a I'm not saying a strong economy, because it isn't strong economic times, but a more robust economy. Yeah. We're highly reliant on 4 or 5, and that's our weakness. Yeah. Especially when decisions are made externally to Cumberland by some of these bodies. You know, you've got the New Balance really strong, committed to West Cumberland, as it were. But again, decisions are made in America there, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Armstrong's are made in Flimby.
Yeah, and it's the same. Yeah, it's the same for quite a few organisations, like Igisund. The head office isn't here. Decisions, so some of them will be made.
Yeah,
here.
but they're strong. If you think about the investment packages they've put in since, I think it's maybe 6. I can remember it getting built as a kid, maybe 65, 66, 67 or something like that. Maybe a year later, but they've consistently invested in the plant and changed the way that they operate high-end stuff. So they've got their own niche. Yeah, you know, and that market's a tough market. The packaging market's a tough market. Yeah. So they do the high end. It's like the films market, isn't it, within Ovia? And
and at the end of the day, they're all making litter, aren't they? That's what you're making rubbish, basically. So that's the old saying. I used to work there, so I can spill on that tree. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're moving to it and looking at, aren't they? They're looking at the recyclable packaging and that. So really
while we're on the point of working, just not far away from Igisund, the port.
Yeah.
Tell us about the port. What's happening with the port? What's the crack? Can we have any hot takes on that?
Well, it's getting a bit of life. I think it's been subdued.
Okay.
I think it's been subdued for a long time. If that port had been in Carlisle, it would have been bustling. I think it had been starved of investment.
Okay.
I think it's been starved of vision. When Ed Miliband came up, we spoke to him about how we could invest in that, in the port and the area around it. Josh got elected, so now he's part of that. And he's pushing really hard to get investment. So, that figurehead stuff works. The reality is we'll do the work behind all that.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like Pioneer Park as well, that you're pushing it, and then you get him elected, opens doors, and then we do the work behind, so the prospectus and all that sort of stuff. So we've got a young dynamic manager on the port, Ben. He's really driving it. He's causing headaches because he wants the best for it, and sometimes you maybe can't do what you want to do right away, and you've got to sort of plan it through. But I think it's got a good future.
Yep.
It's starting to attract investment.
Yeah.
It's attracted private sector investment, probably 12 to 15 million with the two big cement silos there.
Cool.
Which have become a bit of a landmark in the town. And you drive in, you can see them from coming in on the Stainburn roundabout. So I think the port's on the up.
Yeah.
Or it's certainly turning the corner.
And will that change the economics of that area, would you imagine? Is that the forecast?
Yeah, there's other stuff in there. There's other stuff that'll be coming through. Other organisations are now starting, because you see that sort of development and change, and we're unfortunately or fortunately we're having to put new gates on, and it causes us, obviously due to that, because people are working out of there, it'll cause a wee bit of a blip with their businesses and that, but we need to do that, to get it working, and all the dredging and all that sort of stuff. It isn't ideal.
No.
It's on the end of the river, so it needs dredged fairly frequently, and that's probably £500,000 a time.
Okay.
Yeah, but what I want to do is I want to work with Mary Port and Whitehaven, and then how can we then, if they need dredging, how can we then bring them all together? I want to work with Mary Port on the bridge. That was on the Sore Thumb Bridge, which was called. Well, it's because the organisation chose. I don't know where they chose. I think it would say they'd never had any money, but it wasn't being maintained properly. No. And so how do I then get that involved, get that in contracts too, so that it alleviates any pressures that they have. So if you think about the sort of there's Millham, Whitehaven, Workington, Harrington, Silloth, Mary Port. We've got a few ports there, haven't we? And I think the two jewels are Mary Port and Whitehaven for sort of the visitor economy, as it were, and Workington's the sort of economic part of that, where they're important. So Igeson do it, Armstrong's do it, one or two others. Obviously the windmills are serviced out of there. Yeah. We want to increase that.
Oh, does this mean we're going to have a ferry service from Whitehaven to Maryport in summer? I
think the business group were on about that for a while. And I mean, it's like with the buses. I'll say it before I went through to Silloth, spoke to the people at Silloth and said, look, we'll put it on, but you've got to use it. And if you don't use it, you'll lose it. Yeah, absolutely. And it's working well, I think. Well, the last time I asked, so I'm always keen on that. But I think the last sort of, on the docks, and I mean, certainly the Port of Workington's getting funded. Whitehaven's got the issue with the water, which seems, again, it's probably about minimum $4 million to sort that out. So the government's going to have to get its backside into gear to get that. We haven't got that sort of money. Maryport, we can do some work there. We'll be putting new lights and
challenges. All right. Well, one last question is, if knowing what you know now, would you tell 18-year-old Mark that going into this career path would be a good idea? Do you regret it? Would you change anything?
I don't regret it. I don't regret it because I've done some good great stuff for where we live at. It's like everybody else, isn't it? I wouldn't have kicked off at school and that. I wouldn't have fell out with the old boy. I'd have probably stuck in and carried on and done the sixth form and then the uni at that time, probably. But I always say the hardest thing I've ever done is to become a member of Workington Town Rugby League Board.
Interesting.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done. It's just one long round of pay, VAT, NI, pay, NI, VAT, tax. Oh, it's like, but it's the best thing I've ever done. The best thing I've ever done. The best by a mile. Closely followed by getting that children's services to good. Both team efforts, really. Both team efforts. But if I was to do it again, would I do it all again? Or for winning as a paper candidate by 11 or 12. It's fate, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's fate, and you'll go where you go, you'll go when you go, and it'll happen. You can manipulate it a wee bit, but I suppose, look, I'm here because I was going to be here anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Got you.
I've done all right.
Yeah.
I've done all right.
So, and then we always have a bit of a healthy debate. So this is going to be quite interesting with yourself because I know you've got a bit of both sides. So we always ask the question, would you go in 2025, if somebody was saying, do I go to university or do I take an apprenticeship route? What would your advice be?
Degree apprenticeship, even better.
Nice. It's a proper politician's answer.
No, I would. Well, because I'll tell you why. If you think about the ordinary working families and the kids, my 3 older children have all got debt. And it's like another mortgage on the top of what they're doing. And, politicians at the centre, all of them that voted for it, they all went through university and got it paid for. And sort of I would, if I, go degree apprenticeship, followed closely by probably apprenticeship. And then you get into the world of work. And then you can plan where you want to go in a different way. And you could go to university after that. And you could go, I done a postgraduate course. And bluntly, I'll tell you, I done it at sort of 1 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that because I didn't want it to interrupt my life. I was going out, my sort of night out was always on a Friday. So I was going out on a Friday night, coming home and doing the work. And I can remember the person, the professor at the university, was at Lancaster, said, you've got a really nice way of writing, Mark. It was probably because I was half cut. But, I would go degree apprenticeship. I would go apprenticeship and then look at where the avenues were. And if it meant having to go to university at as a mature student, I would do that route. Nice.
And what do you think's the biggest challenge in politics at the moment, as of today?
The polarisation of it now.
Okay.
Probably the people thinking they can say anything they want on social media and it doesn't impact. If you, I manage it in a different way. Many of my councillors, have you seen that? I say no, because I don't go on it.
Interesting.
I think Facebook's in its worst sense. It's brilliant, isn't it, when somebody's birthday and all that, and everybody goes on and say happy birthday and all this, and it's really great at keeping people connected. But it's evil in its worst sense, isn't it? Some of the stuff that's on there is mind-blowingly awful. And we've got it locally as well as nationally. Yeah. So I manage it by duck going on it. And that's what we do. And I have we've sort of got an agreement in the house. Sue, I don't want you to bring Facebook into my home. Yeah, all these stuff, all the negative side. Yeah. So that's how I work. That's how I work it. So politics is really, really difficult at the minute. Really difficult. and I've sort of not fear for, but some of the stuff with and the way that journalists try their hardest, not huge guys and not the local guys. Some of them do. Some of them think that they're working for the bloody Daily Mirror or something, or the Sun. A couple of them, but the way that they try and get an angle on you to make you look daft or stupid, or it's not a very nice place at the minute, is it?
No, we see quite a lot. That's marketing, advertising. That's the world in which we live.
Yeah.
So, we see quite a lot, we've seen obviously all the American election campaigns and how they
follow the American election. I follow the American politics like I do. I go on. I don't watch a lot of TV unless it's sport. Or cricket, rugby league, rugby union. Not so much football now. It's just completely lost itself for me. It just isn't connected to the people. It's just connected to money. And but I do follow. I go on YouTube, so I follow a lot of the some of the YouTubers on there for cookery for a start. So I do a few.
Who's your favourite chef?
A guy called Richard Corrigan.
Oh, I don't know him.
He's an Irishman. I like him. I just like the way he gets on with it. I watch all the Saturday morning stuff. But Richard Corrigan, yeah, it's good. And that's it is. It's still me. It's me relaxation.
Cool.
Really.
Like it. Well, I know you're a busy man, so I really appreciate you coming in today, spending a bit of time with us, answering all our questions. Thanks so much for joining us, and this episode will be out very soon.
Right, very good.
Thanks everyone for watching. Cheers.